Everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well, especially during these uncertain times. I thought today we'd discuss something that has been on my mind a lot, and that is game series that, for one reason or another, you just haven't played. I'm sure there are many of you out there where you have a list of games or a whole series of games that you just never got around to, and it eats away at you sometimes, especially if they're major historic games that have changed the industry, for example, and you just feel like you got to play them, but you just haven't yet. So I thought I would go through some of my top 7 game series that I haven't played a single game of, even if I own them, which is sort of sad for me. So we'll start the list with I have never played a Kirby game. Not a single one of them. Even though I own many of the Kirby games for the DS, 3DS, and the Nintendo Wii U, I want to say. And they're short games. They're really something that I could get to really quickly, and I hear they're absolutely amazing and a lot of fun. And it's a shame that I haven't got around to them yet. And the more I thought about it, I thought about, well, where did this all start from? And I remember years and years ago when I first was introduced to Kirby. I was actually introduced to him through Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64 when it first came out, because he was a playable character. Up to that point, I never knew who he was, and I quickly grew to love him. He was my favorite character in Smash for quite some time, and I had this desire to want to know more about him and what his world was like, because I remember there was a stage called Dream World, and I thought, oh yeah, I really want to know more about it, and I want to know more about who he is and his story and the different characters. And for some reason, it just kind of stopped there. And then it picked up again years later. Because there was a TV series, which many of you may not even know about, or if you do, put a comment down to say that you remember this television show where it was about Kirby. And I remember getting up on Saturday morning just to watch it, because it came on after Sonic Adventure. And I remember really loving this cartoon of Kirby and Dreamland, because I was introduced to people like King Dedede, for example, or Meta Knight, who, if you played the games, you would have known who these people were, but I just never did. And so it was really enjoyable. And again, at that time, I really wanted to play these Kirby games. But I did not own, as a child, an NES or a Super NES. So the main original debut sequences or series for this guy came on those systems, and I just never had them, and so I never got the experience to play those games. And then time moved on, and I still never played them. And I have, over time, once I got a DS and a 3DS, I remember seeing all kinds of Kirby games in bargain bins at Walmart or even EB Games, and I've picked up many of them, but just never put them in. And I think that's just down to me just not thinking about it very often, or if I do, I go, oh yeah, I should do that, and I'm about to do it, and then another game comes out or something else takes my attention, and I forget about it, which is often the case, especially with work and kids and that, and school is something that used to do that as well. So I've always had that guilt whenever I play Smash, even to this day, and I play as Kirby. I feel a lot of guilt for not having played any of the titles in his long catalog history of games, which is rather sad, and I want to correct that as soon as possible. And I think next year I'm going to put some on my gaming list, which I'll talk about near the end of the year, of games that I made a list that I wanted to beat this year, and I'll do again for next year. And I think I'm going to put some of those on that list just to experience them and get them also off my backlog as well. Another game series that I have never played at all, but I have watched others play, mainly my brother-in-law, who actually introduced this series to me, and watching it through other YouTubers like the Angry Video Game Nerd, which is fantastic. If you don't know him, you never see him, please go check him out. He's absolutely fantastic. I love watching him. I've watched him play many of the entries into this franchise and thoroughly enjoy it. And I think I would like it too. And this series is Castlevania, and I have never played it myself, which is almost criminal now that I think about it, because it's such a great series and it's so important to to gaming history, as many games try to copy its formula and are often compared to it. In Metroid, obviously, and there's a group of games that we call Metroidvania-like because they are so similar to or take inspiration from Metroid and Castlevania. But I've never played it myself. Again, going back, Castlevania was one of those games that originally debuted on the NES. I didn't own one as a kid. Super NES, never had one. I remember there was a game that came out on the N64, but I never seen it. I never seen anything about it, never heard about it, which is probably a good thing because I heard it's not very good. But even my friend, who I've mentioned so many times on this channel, who had PlayStations and always seemed to have every game possible, never, to my recollection, ever had a Castlevania game. Because I know Symphony of the Night, which is, they say, one of the best ones. I don't remember him ever playing it. So he mustn't have had it, and that's interesting, at least for me, because it was such a great game. And I watched a little bit of reviews about it and gameplay, and it looks awesome. And it's a game that every Halloween that I get a little bit, I don't know, nostalgic now for some reason. I don't know why. I've never played it myself, but I want to play it during Halloween. And I think that's because of the atmosphere, ghouls, ghosts, and, you know, the skeletons and Frankensteins and Dracula, obviously. It's Halloween-y. And I've just never got around to it. And that's something that I want to change. I really do want to get to it because I think I would really like it. Although it's difficult, and I know that, and I'm not the greatest at some of these games, but I still want to try it and at least give it a good attempt, because I think I owe it not only to the gaming history and appreciate that history, which I often do, and see where things develop from. I think it would just be a great experience in general playing it. So another group of games that I have been told countless times to play by colleagues, friends, or anybody that knows me knows I would love this series is the Shenmue series. I, again, have never played it. And when I thought about it, it was because growing up, I never had a Dreamcast. And part of that's because my family, I grew up in a family that believed that when you bought a gaming system, that it would last you a lifetime. And every game that would ever come out would always work on it. And so when I was a kid, the first console that my parents bought for me was Nintendo 64. Before then, obviously, I had a Atari that was my dad's. But anyways, I just never had a Dreamcast. And it took me a very long time to get them to buy me a new system. And I think it was all the way until the Wii, when the Wii came out. No, the N60, not N64, I already had that. The GameCube, pardon me, the GameCube. Because I remember I really had to bug them to get that. Because they didn't believe me, first off, that the games wouldn't work until they actually went in and talked to the store clerk and realized, yeah, it doesn't work on all the games. So anyways, that's a different story. But I never had a Dreamcast. And nobody on my street or block or anywhere in the schoolyard ever had a Dreamcast either. So no one ever spoke of this wonderful game and wonderful franchise as far as I'm concerned. I have watched many videos on it. I've watched lots of reviews, and it's totally a game that I would love. I love Japanese culture, and I love the aesthetic of this game. It is absolutely beautiful, the graphics, and I love action, adventure, stories, and a little bit of RPG sort of ish elements in there. It's perfect for me, and it's sad that I haven't yet played it. However, I do know for Christmas that my wife bought me Shenmue 1 and 2, and I think the third one for Christmas, so they're under the tree. So I'm looking really forward to playing that. Now, another group of games that I have never played, and which is sad because they are the cornerstone, another big games franchise that have changed the gaming industry, is the Metal Gear series. They're iconic. I just have never played one. And again, my friend who had the PlayStations and had lots of games, I don't recall him ever having Metal Gear. And if he did, I just never played it or ever seen him play it. Because I know Metal Gear started on the PlayStation 1, and I don't remember him having it. But, yeah, no, it's a great game series. Excellent story. Again, action-adventure. They're rather short. There's no reason really for me not to have played it. Interestingly enough, I do own the Phantom Pain, which is the 5th entry into the series. And I just haven't played it yet. And I think there was a time where I wanted to, and a part of me said, hey, you gotta play the originals first. You gotta play the first, second, and go through. And part of me has always been like that. I always want to start from the beginning and work your way up to see the progression of the story, the gameplay, the graphics, the design, software, and how all these things have evolved throughout time and through different gaming generations. But I don't know, do you have to play any of the Metal Gear games in order? And if not, which ones do you suggest I start with first? So yeah, leave it down in the comment and let me know. What do you think I should do? Because I think they're going to be fantastic games. They're right up my alley. You know, again, stealth, hunting. You know, the last one I was open world and would be also perfect to play. Action adventure. I love those types of games. So it's perfect for me. Another group of games that, as an RPG fan, it's hard to admit that I have never played them, even though I own many of the games, is the Dragon Quest series. I have not played any of the entries in it. I own, as you see, the one here for the PlayStation 4, the newest one, Dragon Quest 11. I have many of the Dragon Quest games on the, DS and 3DS. I never played them. And I think part of it's because I know they take a long time. I love RPGs. They're perfect for me. I love fantasy. I think I would fall instantly in love with them. And I want to get to them. I think part of me is, now that I'm older and I have, I work at a university, I'm a scientist doing PhD, teaching, research, having a family and a house to take care of, time is sometimes not always on my side, and it would take me quite a long time to go through these. So I do want to start them because I think they'd be really fun, and they're games that I really, really want to play. So I think that's something that I would like to do, certainly in the future, especially with the graphics. I know that they are wonderful graphics, especially this newest one here. And the story, I heard, is epic, fantastic. I love going on huge adventures. Yeah, I think this is a perfect game for me to play. And definitely want to get around to it very, very soon. Now, in the penultimate spot is a more recent game series that's come out and are now also out on the newest hardware, the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox that has come out, and those are the Watch Dogs games. Now I own, as you see, both of them here, and the new one's out on those on the new hardware that's out, and I have just never got around to playing them, which is strange because they are very reminiscent of GTA, I hear. And for those of you that know or maybe don't know, I am a huge fan of GTA, going all the way back to San Andreas, when Actually, even before then, there was one in an arcade once that I was obsessed with, and it made all my quarters because there was a top-down view of the city, and I remember just loving that. But my friend, again, who had the PlayStations, he got, I think his father bought it for himself, but ended up us kids playing it was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And oh my goodness, my friend Mikey didn't really like it too much. His brothers did, and I really did. I actually would come over from weekends, vacations, after school, I mean all the time, just to play GTA San Andreas, and loved every minute of it. And he sometimes would say, "Oh, come on, we can play something else." You know, you played it for like an hour. And there would be times where he'd even go, like, he'd go out, or he'd go and have dinner, and I'd be down there playing San Andreas. I just loved it, and fell in love with the Grand Theft Auto series right from there. And so it's interesting that games that are sort of like that, a little bit different obviously because they're more about hacking and things, but similar kind of style and that I should love. And I think I would absolutely enjoy them. Why I haven't got to them, I think in part, is I still play Grand Theft Auto 5. And even sometimes Grand Theft Auto 3 and 4. I just do. Right? It's just, they're really great games. And I just get lost and I drive around and I do crazy mayhem stuff. Like, there's a lot of enjoyment. And so I think I might have to give these guys a try for sure, especially now that there's a new one coming out. I know I would probably enjoy them immensely. So these last group of games in this game series is actually the main reason why I made this video, was because I've always really wanted these to play these games, and I just never had them or even thought about getting any of them. And I've known about this series for so many years, decades now. And it wasn't till recently that I actually was able to own them. And I was super excited. And a little story, we're going to go down a little story for a second. I remember when I was very young, I was like 13 or 14 years old. We were at a Pizza Hut. And my family was all around. We were ordering. And at this time, and in Ontario, Pizza Hut was giving out like little books, little booklets to keep the kids occupied while they made the meal. And there was like comics in there, and they would be like, you know, coloring and then ads and different things on TV or video games or hints and tips and stuff. And I really was obsessed with these. And now that I think about it, I should have kept some of these magazines because they're nice memorabilia. But I remember this advert that was saying there was a game that was coming out for the PlayStation 2. And it was, the artwork was fantastic. And the stuff that they were talking about and the speech bubbles, and that was absolutely fantastic. And I was super excited and wanted to get this game day one. And that is the Yakuza series. I loved this thing so much that I bugged my mom and dad to get me a PlayStation 2. And of course they never did. They didn't do that. And my friend Mikey never had one either. He had a PlayStation 2, but I don't remember him ever having Yakuza on it. I could be wrong, but I don't remember. But I remember just being so excited and really being obsessed with it. And I just kept looking at the artwork, and I'm daydreaming about this game and the Japanese culture and what does it mean to be a Yakuza crime boss and things. And then I started to watch some of the Yakuza movies that came out and really loved them, which of course these games took their inspiration from. And it wasn't until Boxing Day. Oh, sorry, not Boxing Day. Sorry, Black Friday. This year, that I seen a whole bunch of these Yakuza games going on sale, and they were, I think I paid like $10, $15 Canadian. Crazy. And and just bought all of them. And I'm so glad and so thankful that they released, I think all of the games now, I think, are on, you can play them on the PlayStation 4. I don't know about the Xbox One, but I'm sure they're there as well. And I'm just so excited. And I remember, okay, when these came in, when I opened up the package and I seen just the title and staring at me in the face, I was like, it was like some kind of relic, like an ancient relic. And I was like just looking at it and just looking at this artwork here. And just, I don't know, I was just so enthralled. And I remember just putting them down and just left them and just pondered it and pondered the adventures that I'm going to have with this. And it's just really funny that that's how I felt, but it just hit me that I now have this and I can play them, and I'm so excited. So it's like a myth, you know? So yes, I'm really looking forward to these, and I really want to play them as soon as possible. And I'm thinking I'm going to start playing them pretty soon once I finish some of these games on my list to beat this year. I still have a couple, believe it or not. But anyways, with that, let me know in the comments below. What game series did you skip out on? Or just have always wanted to play like I have, but never got around to it? Maybe it was, you know, GTA. Maybe it was the Mario franchise or the Assassin's Creed franchise. I know a lot of people skip on that one. But yeah, let me know. Share, like, comment, you know. Let me know what's going on. And again, I hope you all are taking care. Stay safe. Look forward to a great holiday season. And again, of course, thank you for watching.